Hello and welcome to another Forza Horizon 3 video. Now, what you're seeing in front of you now is the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. Now, this came in the new Porsche pack. That isn't actually an expansion. It didn't cost £15, it only cost £5 or $7 or whatever it costs in Canada or America or other countries. I don't know. I just know it cost around £5. Anyway, this got me thinking. I wonder what it would do up against maybe its rivals, say the Nissan GTR or cars like that. But first, let's just see how it sounds. I personally quite like that sound. It sounds very, very nice. But yeah, as I was saying, I was wondering how would this thing do around a track against some of its rivals. So this is what happened. So the first thing to do was obviously to put the Porsche around our track, and I really like the interior of this thing. It looks very, very nice. And I've actually driven this car a little bit before I filmed this, and it is extremely planted to the ground. It grips around the corners incredibly well. It does get sideways, as you're seeing a little bit here, but most of the time, sorry, yeah, it grips to the ground incredibly well. So yeah, anyway, sorry I haven't really been uploading lately. I promise that I will be uploading a little bit more soon. Yeah, this Porsche is incredibly good around the corners. It grips really rather well, and it's in S2 and it's got 493 horsepower, so there you go, as it crosses the line in a time of 48.74 seconds. So the first of the Porsche's rivals to go around the track was the BMW M4 GTS. So yeah, this is basically like a hardcore version of the BMW M4, and I immediately found that around this corner here it felt a lot less grippy, or not around that corner, but around this corner here it felt a lot less grippy, as you're going to see. The back kind of steps out, and I had a lot of issues getting this car around the track. I at least tried maybe about 3 times to try and get this around the track. I believe this was the 4th time trying to get this around. It was incredibly kind of sloppy to drive. It's like I've never really properly driven it, but this is the first time I've actually properly driven it around the track, and it's just really kind of slidey, and it's not really that planted to the ground. As we're coming up to the kind of final corners now, and that's the Porsche's time just been gone, and the BMW did it in 53.82 seconds. So next up it is the Ford Shelby GT350, but yeah, the BMW has the exact same amount of horsepower as the Porsche, 493, and it got a time that was about 5 seconds, a whole 5.1 seconds slower than the Porsche, but this could fare a bit more of a good chance. It has 526 horsepower, which is way more than the Porsche, although muscle cars aren't really known to turn well. I mean, this one, out of all the muscle cars I've driven, this one does turn like really rather well. It is kind of made for the track and stuff like that, a little bit more than other Mustangs. So yeah, it does grip a lot better than other Mustangs do. I mean, we do kind of go off-road at a few points, because I'm just trying to not spin this thing, because if you do push it a little bit too hard, it does spin the wheels and you do spin out. But yeah, as we knock over the sign and go across the line in 53.85, which is roughly the same as the BMW. So the next car to try and beat the Porsche's lap time is a McLaren 570S. Now, as you saw in the last lap, the Ford Shelby got a 53.85, which is very, very close to the BMW, but it's actually slower than the BMW. I was expecting the Ford with that many more horsepowers, I was expecting it to at least beat the BMW, but as we get this thing very sideways as well. Again, this was another car that I struggled getting around the corners. I spun this thing out quite a few times, as you're seeing, going off-road, and yeah, it's getting very, very sideways. It's just this doesn't have the downforce of the Porsche to try and keep it on the road. The Porsche is extremely grippy. maybe because like there's more weight over the rear wheels because the engine's in the back, obviously. But I thought this would have a chance because the engine's kind of more towards the back. I don't know. That was just a kind of theory, but as we cross the line in 51.18 seconds, which is slower than Porsche. So the next car to try and beat the Porsche was a 2017 Nissan GTR. Yeah, the McLaren was very, like, extremely hard to control. I at least tried maybe 3 or 4 times again to try and get it around the track, and it just kept spinning out. But I thought this Nissan GTR would have a big, extremely better chance, if that makes any sense, to try and beat the Porsche, because it has way more horsepower and 4-wheel drive, so I thought this is definitely going to beat the Porsche. But we shall see at the end whether it's going to beat it or not as we go through the chicane. That's probably one of my favourite corners. But, I mean, this track's very good as well, so I think for future reviews we're definitely going to be using this track because it's just extremely good. I used it in my BMW M2 review as well, so if you want to see that, go and watch it. As we cross the line in 49.91. So the Nissan GTR actually didn't get faster than the Porsche. It was the closest to the Porsche, but it didn't actually get quicker. And as you're seeing on the screen now, we've kind of got a car that is road legal, but you couldn't really transport 2 people in very nice comfort in. It's the Radical Rxc Turbo. Yeah, all the cars that I have put around this track so far, you can transport 2 people in relative comfort. You know, they've got heaters and stuff like that. This, I'm assuming, doesn't have all those luxuries. And yeah, this thing was also made for the track. So as we're already at the kind of end of the track, this thing grips incredibly well as well. As we're coming up to the line already, and the Radical did it in 46.34 seconds. So there you go. If you want to go faster around a track than this Porsche 911, you're going to have to buy something that really isn't that practical for the road. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this slightly longer video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe if you aren't already to my channel. But until the next video, goodbye.